Greetings, Sanbonani. Welcome to the sixth episode of the Wellness Journey Conversation Series, where I'm speaking to different people about their wellness practices, about their different approaches in wellness, how they define wellness, because wow, the wellness tree has so many branches and we all define wellness differently. It's been such a lovely journey so far, just hearing about people's wellness practices. There's been so much to just take away. There's been so much to learn. It's just been so beautiful and we're so grateful. My name is Unokuzola Chalufu. I am the human and planting seeds of wellness, a wellness journey into collective wellness. I see Chido, you're already here. Hey now. Okay, let me put you through. Today we are joined by Chido.
Hey, Kaz.
Hello.
How
Hey,
are
hey.
you? How
Good,
you
how are
doing?
you?
I'm
I'm
doing
good.
good.
I'm just gonna wait a little bit for people, if there's people that are gonna join us.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
let
you
me
so
just
much for having me, Kaz.
thank you so much for agreeing to doing
You're most
this.
welcome. I would love to share. You know, I like sharing, so I'm
Yes,
happy to be here.
happy.
Awesome.
How's your day going?
It's going good. It's been a very productive work day. I suppose with wanting to do this, I just wanted to make sure that I've got most of my work out so I'm not anxious and feeling the nerves too much because I actually was nervous to do this.
Yeah, the nerves, the nerves.
I
Yeah,
didn't believe it.
but this is a
I had to
safe,
do some breathing techniques,
right? I also did
calm
that.
myself down. Yo, yeah.
Yeah, but this is a safe virtual space, you know. Yeah, so I really appreciate you opening yourself up to this and sharing
You're
yourself.
welcome. I think what's beautiful is when people share, we get to learn and unlearn our technique. Maybe we get to revise, maybe we get to learn something new, and it's important to share.
It's
Mm,
powerful. It's powerful.
definitely.
So I think we can just start, and then
Mhm.
whoever joins in will catch us on the way. Yeah.
Right.
So how would you define wellness in your own terms?
I think the way that I've understood wellness is for it to be more than just a state of being well or being free of illness. For me, wellness and well being go hand in hand because it's about an intentional, conscious practice, wanting to be aware or becoming aware, but also infusing other aspects of life that are integral. So if you look at wellness alone, you look at physical health. Right? That's what you look at when you look at wellness. Well, some people. When I look at it from a holistic point of view. So I'm thinking about my emotional and psychological life. I'm thinking about my physical life. I'm thinking about my intellectual life. I'm thinking about my mental wellness. I'm also thinking about my economic life and my spiritual life. So you'll find that wellness is a characteristic of well-being. Well-being is the bigger thing for me. And then wellness comes under it. And also under that comes the self-care. So you can't have, for me, one without the other. I can't have wellness without well-being. I can't have wellness and well-being without self-care.
Mm,
Mm.
mm. Definitely, definitely. Because I think we focus so much on the physical because it shows itself more. you know, because
Definitely.
that's what you interact with the most. But
And it's
then
easy gratification as well, I think.
it's instant. You said instant
It's
gratification?
easier gratification. I think it's something that you can show off and be like, oh, look at me, I'm getting thicker, or I've got the abs that I wanted, but are you
Yeah,
taking care of everything else?
exactly. Because everything is so interconnected and it's a reflection on the outside. So just doing that inner cleaning up and just being more mindful on what's happening, like you mentioned, you know, psychologically,
Mm,
economically, you know,
yeah.
emotionally is so vital.
Politically, even is important at this point. You'll find a lot of um, people's political lives are affected at the moment, not only because of COVID, but just the general climate in the world. So your political life is affected, your economic life is affected, and that has effects on your whole being.
Mm,
Mm.
mm, mm. So, as such an advocate for self-care, how does self-care fit into your wellness practice?
Self-care is the leader, honey. It's the Holy Spirit of this Trinity. It just um keeps me together. It's, I think, the practice that I use to keep myself well.
Mm,
I
mm,
I I approach my wellness from a point of self. I think it's very important to start from I first, so that when I do share and give it to other people, it's worthy in a sense. Self-worth, community worth.
mm,
My
mm,
offering has to be substantial, or it's not worth anything, I suppose.
And you just mentioned community. I actually had a question there of is self-care essential for collective wellness?
I think it is super important because the more I work on myself and the more I show up as the best version of myself for my community, I'm adding value. I
Mm,
think that that's how it works. If I have surplus to give more in all aspects of my life, I'm able to give more. The more I learn, the more I can pass on. It's the same as I learn a practice or I learn a ritual and I come to you and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is something that I figured out. Maybe it's something that you will try, but if I'm sick, the community is sick.
that's very true.
Mm,
That is very true because it all starts with an individual and it
definitely.
just ripples. So the more we are well individually, the more it ripples out and creates, you know, that vibration into, you know, that collective wellness and that collective well-being. Mm.
Definitely. I think most of the times we're taught to care on a community level, but we're not taught to care for ourselves. So you imagine in a home, you get raised to care for one another, but are you taught how to take care of yourself? I feel like it's something that we learn after the fact. It's interesting and it's beautiful that we all still have time to learn.
Exactly, exactly. It's like mothering yourself, you know, it's like
Exactly.
you
Raising
learn
yourself. Mm,
exactly. It's like
mm,
raising and just like, taking care of yourself, you know. And
exactly.
why do you think self-care is important for our well-being?
I think self care is extremely important because it's hinged on your idea of self worth, your idea of being able to create. Because I think whether you're man or woman, whether you're going to have babies, our purpose is to create, whether you're creating energy, you're creating safe space. So it allows you to tap into the creator and the power within. And I think it informs how you move. You get self information from caring for yourself. It also allows you to develop and grow.
Continuously and thrive, you know, the way we
Yes.
meant to thrive. Mm. So, how has the way you view self-care changed over the years?
I think when I was much younger, it was just something that was nice. What I like about taking references from my younger self to now is the practice has been developed, but my understanding and appreciation of it is very different. Like, I know the things that I like. I knew the things that I liked, but now I know the value they add to me. For
Mm.
example, I really like painting my nails.
Mm.
I've always liked to do my nails, and I find as a self-care practice, I'm able to just sit down with myself, check in, reflect. It's the same sort of experience that I would get from doing something like yoga. It's a
Mm.
moment to myself. If I decide I want to do it with my girlfriends or do it with my mom, it means now we're sharing a moment together, and there's nothing more amazing than connecting. I love connecting with my friends. I love connecting with my family. It just makes me feel good. It makes me feel whole and fulfilled.
Mm.
So, self care on an individual level, self care with others is something that just gives me support to carry on.
Mm. Well, self-care with others, that's not
Mm.
like not really so used to self-caring with others. Self-care is such like a, such a
Me thing.
personal individual thing. Yeah, so that's very interesting to self-care with others. I never really viewed it that way. So thank you.
You're
Like
most welcome.
sharing space with people you love, family,
Mm.
friends, people close to you, and just like, you know, being in the self-care space and connecting and deepening your connection and relationship, you know.
If we can party together, honey, we can self care
Yes.
together.
Wow, I love that.
Definitely.
I really, really love it. Wow. So any misconceptions on like just about self-care that
I
you like?
think a lot of people think that self care is expensive because we look at the commercial aspect of it and how it's packaged, and oh, getting my nails done at Sobe is so expensive. Doing a mask or creating smoothies for myself or eating clean is difficult. Um, it's all about finding your pocket, and I think what I've managed to do is to DIY everything that I want to
Mm,
do, from my scrubs to my soap to just creating ritual and ceremony around yourself.
that is
The
like,
misconception is also that it's frivolous, that it doesn't really go deeper than the outside. But
mm,
I think when you do get a chance to work on the outside, you're exercising or expressing something that comes from within. Like I
yeah.
shared, I love gardening. And now I look at gardening as an opportunity to create. And when I plant seed, I plant my seed with an intention.
Mm,
Or if
mm,
I'm repotting my plant and I'm watering it, it's watered with intention, the same intention that I would practice in my wellness practice. So for me
yeah.
at the moment, I'm working on my root chakra, which is the first chakra, and it deals with the sense of belonging, being grounded, feeling secure and safe. So I think intention more than anything else
Mm,
goes a long way. Anything that you do with intention. Self care starts with intention. The packages that I make, everything that I make starts with an intention. So I think people look at it and they're like, oh, it's an airy fairy thing, but it's not.
mm,
It really isn't.
mm, Because everything grows from intention at the end of the day, and do you realize, you notice when you're just doing something and it's not based off intention.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
there's that difference. So I really love like that intention with self-care as well. That why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I'm doing it for myself, I'm doing it for the collective wellness, you know, I'm
Mm,
doing it just for my well-being, I'm doing it so,
exactly.
there's a whole lot of reasons, and there's a whole lot of intentions, and one intention today may not be the same intention the next day, depending on where
Definitely.
you at as well. you know.
Definitely.
And when you were sharing about misconceptions on wellness and just basically um, using what's around you, like
Available to you.
cool to you, like when you create scrubs, you can use ingredients in the kitchen.
Ingredients in your kitchen.
There's
Don't
a line,
throw
there's a
away
scrub that
stuff
like to
that is
say,
off. Yeah,
ah.
I like to use like my bulgur wheat from last year. I like to use recycled coffee grains. So a lot of this self-care thing for me is also being conscious about our environment,
Mm,
how we take care of our environment and recycling elements like I use a lot of plant foliage. I use ingredients from my kitchen. I go and I forage because that also allows me to exercise. But the intention is to create something that's going to make someone else feel important about themselves. So,
mm,
foraging is also something that you can add in there if you're trying to come up with something. Pinterest, some ideas of what you could make at home.
mm.
It will save you money. It will have you connect with your body a lot more. I think there's something special about something you can make and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And Umabotaki said, true, and the romanticized ideology social media offer of wellness is really elusive.
That's true. It's the same as trends and food that people tell you to stay away from. Don't eat too much carbs. Don't eat too much protein and stuff like that. Especially when it comes to diet, I think we need to be very careful. Uh,
Mhm.
Speak to a nutritionist, go speak to someone before you do something drastic with your diet because it has effects. You could really get sick. So
Mm.
following trends is dangerous.
It's so dangerous. And listen to your body.
Most importantly, listen to your body, cultivate a practice through your self-care where you listen to yourself. So the other week, just for a story, I was having joint pain, like knee
Mm-mm.
pain. And when I was 27, I was diagnosed with arthritis in my knee. So I
Whoa.
constantly have to move.
Mm.
And as it was getting colder, my knee started giving problems. So over maybe 3 or 6 years of listening to my body and keeping a journal of aches and pains and feelings and stuff like that, I know when this joint pain starts that
Whoa.
change is coming.
Powerful.
And
That's powerful.
I am going to, or maybe I want to move within that change,
Mm.
using old survival instincts and habits. So when that
Mm.
pain starts, I'm reminded
Yo.
to apply new habits and
Yeah.
new survival instincts. It gets that real. The more you listen to your body, the more you become aware of what it's saying.
And you familiarize yourself with it, because I mean, having a
Definitely.
journal that actually like you just having those inputs of how when you have this headache after eating something, because I know with eating food there's certain things that give me an instant headache, and
Yeah.
sometimes I eat it and just like okay, let me just play around and see if I'm gonna get a headache, and sure as hell, I'd eat it and then I get a headache straight after. Then I know, Uti, it's the body has its own way of communicating. So wow, I really love that. You have that journal where you actually go back and reference.
Journaling is important, guys. I feel like even if you're going to do it as voice notes, it's important to understand how your emotions fluctuate, how your mental fluctuates. Then you begin to understand what triggers you, and then you
Mm,
can start working on whatever it is.
mm,
But you
mm,
can't start working on something you're not aware of.
exactly.
Mm,
The awareness is so key.
yeah.
Mm. So, could you please share any of your morning routines and your bedtime routines?
Um, since it's winter, my mornings are tough. I'm not a morning person at
Uh,
all. So I struggle to get out of bed because it's warm and all of that. So I've started doing my movement in the evening. In the
mm,
mornings, I like to do a little sound healing. I like to use my singing bowl. I meditate. I set intention for my day. Um, I create a list of to-dos and then um, have breakfast if I feel like breakfast because I never force a meal. Eat my breakfast, then I start the day. But throughout the day, I like to take time or break the day apart by doing something mindful, even if it's just sitting properly and breathing deeply for 5 minutes. Exactly. It just gets you present again. Going into the garden, if I'm not working from outside, is also something that I like to do. Um, I like bedtime stories. And some of my routines are really centered around other people supporting the things that I like. So my friends send me bedtime stories. I get poems sometimes, or a lullaby.
Oh,
Get your
wow, that's
friends
so
to
special.
support your care. Mm.
Oh, that's really special. That's like mothering on
It
another
really is.
adult level. And it's key, that nurturing, we crave that nurturing so much,
Definitely.
Yeah. So any rituals you'd like to share with us that you do?
Ouch.
Just one or two?
Um, I love moon rituals. I am a lunar witch, let it be known. I love moon rituals. I think I love a full moon ritual because everything is complete. You get a moment to be grateful for the intentions that you set, the ones that you were able to realize, the ones that you are going to um, review in the new moon. So I like a bath ritual.
Mm,
Yes.
mm,
And what I did during COVID was to develop a bath soap for one of my products. So I developed a black tea and almond bath soap. It has essential oils, it has Epsom salts, it has flowers in there as well. So I
yum.
like to take time in the bathroom by myself. It's a nice space. I love the bathroom. So I put all my plants in the bathroom. Um, and I take my bath. I like to steam. So I would forage some eucalyptus or something that is aromatic to put in the bathroom with me. I will smoke my marijuana because that's also part of steaming and the meditation and just getting into a connected space with
I
myself.
can see this. I'm envisioning this as you're speaking. I'm like, oh.
It's lovely because the next time you come over, I'll set that up for you. But it's amazing to spend time with myself. What I like to do as well is to take out my crystals because I'm big on crystal healing. Take out my crystals into outside where they can get hit by the moonlight. I also like to make moon water.
How do you make moon water?
So, moon water, what you would do is you would take a container. You can use console jars if you've got console jars. You can use a clay pot. If you have a clay pot, you would put normal water in there. You would leave it for 24 hours outside, and you have moon water that is charged by the any energy of whatever moon that is that you're under. So the 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 sign that the moon shows up in affects the energy that you're harvesting.
Okay.
So you're actually harvesting energy into your water that you will use intentionally.
So is
So
that the
that
intention
water,
you put into the water, depending on where? Okay. Okay.
so
Mm-hmm.
that water, you can use it as hairspray, honey. You could
Does
use
it
it
like make
to
your hair
drink.
flourish and grow, or is it?
Well, if you
For
add other
example, if
things
that's
to
the
it,
intention you have in the water, and then is that a thing where you like probably
yes.
have something that you want your hair to grow, and then you wash your hair? Is that?
No, that's not what I mean, because if you want your hair to grow, the water alone is not going to do it. You would need to mix in some essential oils, you would need to mix in some aloe vera gel or whatever routine you've got going on, but it's great as just a spritzer. You can wash with that water as well. You can
Mm.
add it to your tub water. You can use it to make wudu. Wudu is like just like the cleansing of the self, and make a little prayer. You can use it over the course of the next moon to cleanse your crystals.
Ah, okay, okay. Oh, that's some powerful moon water.
That water tastes amazing. So I put mine in a clay pot, and
Uh,
clay makes water taste so good. It
ah,
tastes so good.
sure.
And I think that's one of my tricks to stay hydrated, because I struggle to drink water, but when I know it's moon water, I'm gonna drink it.
And then can you make tea with your moon water?
Yes, you can. You can use it however you feel like. This is actually one of those things where your intuition must guide you to use it
Okay.
how you want. There's no one way to use it.
Okay, okay. I'll definitely try that next full moon. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Um,
amazing. And how have you been taking care of yourself during like this COVID-19 lockdown series?
I've been focusing on my spirituality and my sexuality. When I heard COVID was coming, I was like, listen, we're going to go get some crystals, some incense. I got myself a singing bowl because I wanted to get into sound healing. I was pretty scared of how my energies would be. I thought I'd be anxious because I'm an anxious person, but every time it kind of flares up, I take out my singing bowl and I just meditate. Yoga
Mm,
has been really good for me as well. The support from friends and family checking in has been magical. That support is so necessary because I feel like I'm not the only one. And it's just allowed room and space for me
mm.
to connect with myself. I know I had several intentions set out for the beginning of the year, and it feels like I'm derailed a little bit. When you look at the things you've done, you're like, I've barely done anything, but I'm doing self work with which I think is super valuable.
It's work.
And
It's work, and
mm,
it's valid. It's valid work.
I think it's easy to discredit it when you're used to specific milestones and specific shows of the work that you're putting in.
And you forget, we forget how far we've come. You
Yeah,
know, we
definitely.
forget that we continuously plant those seeds, that actually really contribute to our growth. But then as soon as something happens, we forget all of that. Forget how far we've come. We are just so hard on ourselves, and then I feel like that's so important to just draw back in and remember how far you've come. And then because you've come so far, you are still going to, you're still moving,
And
that
there's
it's
long way to go.
an upward spiral, it's a journey.
Yeah,
So I
I
always
think
remember.
one of, sorry to cut you off, you were saying?
No, oh no, I was just saying that I always remind myself that we are on an upward spiral, girl.
Mm,
Whatever happens,
definitely.
upward spiral. Yeah, what were you saying?
I was gonna say one of my things during this COVID situation, and I don't know if other people are experiencing this, but or with the shift of the energies with the moon and stuff, I feel like a lot of my childhood traumas are coming through, and
Mm.
having to be kind to myself. I'm using the most kindest, most softest voice to just be like, girl, it's okay. um
Mm.
you will put in the work to heal. You've actually done so much. Like you're saying, we forget where we've come from, or we look at
Exactly.
where we've come from and we're like, "Oh, we should have known better." No, where you're at
Exactly.
right now
Yeah,
is
that
where
as
you're
well.
at.
Yeah. I've struggled with that, especially when I think back, yo, but how did I
How
do
did I
that?
do
You
that?
know, it's part of the journey. You learn,
It
you know
really
better,
is.
you do better, and that's just that. So, say,
Definitely. Oh, the self kindness has kept me this
yeah.
this COVID. It really has, because of I think a tendency to want to do too much, and being grounded and being in pause and in stillness. Like the anxiety that comes from something like that is something that you need to talk to yourself about. And
But
having the right
mothering voice,
voice in your mind talking is everything.
that
There
mothering
is,
voice, you know.
yes.
Ubose is asking, how do you open yourself up to meditation or even praying with another person? I've been having discussions, but it never comes to life. Is patience maybe an element that needs to be considered?
What do you think, Kaz, from your meditative practice?
How do you open yourself up to me? I think because I've struggled a lot with meditation myself, and I mean with a lot of people. It always feels like you need to silence your mind. You can't be thinking of anything. But then I think the most part of it is also considering that you don't have to be seated.
Exactly.
You can meditate, practice, because I feel like meditation is also a practice.
It is a practice.
To just like be mindful and in that awareness in whatever you are doing. So being in that meditative state, whether you are cooking, whether
Mm,
you are just sitting down or reading,
yeah,
whether whatever actions you are doing can also be meditative. So the moment I
I
started
agree with you.
the moment I started learning that, I opened myself up more to meditation and not didn't make it so restrictive. So even when I dance, but even when I do body movements,
Yeah.
it's more of a meditation. So the more I open myself up to that, it really opened different portals per se, that I felt like I was more clear and there was more clarity around me.
Okay.
And patience is definitely an element. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nabusi, it's definitely like an element to consider, because with anything, just that patience with yourself, and even if
Mm.
you don't get the results you need at that time, you
Keep at it.
keep at it. You just keep at it. You just keep at it. You just continue. There's just, it's been like years of things I've been practicing, and I didn't see anything happen. I'm like, how? But there's those subtle, very subtle, and that's also what you need to also recognize, those very subtle
The
changes
subtle
in
changes in yourself, right? Mm.
yourself and how you respond to the world and people around and you also realize, let's say, hey, my reactions are different. Hey, my
Mm.
response is different. Hey, the way I move is different. Hey,
Yeah.
so it actually is that journey where you just be patient and just keep it moving also, and not being hard on yourself, of course. You
I
want it
think
to.
that's the most important thing, not being hard on yourself and not having the practice be prescriptive. You're not like anyone else. Give yourself an opportunity to practice how you want to practice it. Like, I loved what you mentioned about being meditative, even in dance, even in cooking, even in, like, it's a continuous thing that you can observe during the day. And I'd say start with yourself before you start meditating with other people. It's always good to figure out things by yourself, and then you share it with other people, or open up the space for other people to share in that practice with yourself.
Because now both of you would have, I mean, together but not separately.
Yeah,
You know, having that intention that we are meditating and doing this practice together, but you don't have to do it, you know, together, but then that creates
exactly. We're in the space
that.
together.
Oh, exactly.
Mm.
Yeah. So anything else you wanted to share with regards to self-care?
I think let's spend time with ourselves, guys. Let's gather some self information. I would encourage a lot of journaling, because there is nothing more honest than your own voice. There's nothing more supportive than your own voice. I find in moments when I am struggling, when I go back and listen to some of the things that I've said to myself, I'm like, oh damn, that was powerful, and I can bring myself towards myself, or bring myself out of a situation. Self-care is not expensive. It's something that you can do with things that are around you. It's as simple as taking a walk. It's as simple as taking a nap, and napping is so important. I kid you not. Being able to have the energy to go during the day is important. So napping is what it is. Figure out for yourself the things that you like, and start practicing them. Be kind to yourself and love yourself. That's just it.
Yay. Yay. And do you have your singing bowl there? I thought we can
Yes, I
just
do. Do you want to sound off?
right there. Just like, okay, my battery here is doesn't want us to be great now, but yeah. Just to close off.
Okay.
Okay.
The vibes, girl.
Thank you so much for opening yourself up again.
Thank you so
Flow.
much, cuz. If
Wow.
anyone else feels like they have questions that they want to ask, feel free to slide into our DMs. Share with us your care practice as well, your wellness practice and journeys. I think it's important just to get
The
the
sharing, the power of
information
sharing.
going.
Wow. And it
Mm,
keeps us going, it keeps that momentum, and it just
yes,
like inspires you to, continue and not give up. Yeah. All right. Have a
thank
beautiful
you
day,
so
Brenda.
much for
Thank you,
joining,
everyone.
everyone.
Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Ooh.